Welcome everyone, Madman bringing another RSO video. So today we are going to go through Iron Twins using a Helicath triple painkeeper and a DPS comp. This I found from Soda Dragon, and it is the slow speed comps. So we'll go into that. Also, a shout out to Iron Gaming with his Iron Twins calculator. So that comes in helpful there. But when I first started this, I built the teams and it kept failing. And I probably went through close to 2 pots of energy, so almost 260 energy, and quite a bit of coin actually, trying to figure out why it kept failing. I missed an important part of Soda Dragon's video, so we're going to get into it. You'll see the runs. We'll start with the 2 failed runs and the builds, and then you'll see the successful runs on all affinities. And yes, one thing I don't like that Soda Dragon did is don't show me Armiger as a DPS and throw Geo in the video. Geo's obviously the best for this, and I get that. But, you know, if you're going to show me the comp, show me the comp. Don't show me a slightly different version, because too many times, oh yeah, it works, and then it doesn't work. Plus, not a big fan of not seeing the builds, the masteries, and the books. And of course, if you're like me, sometimes you just go through the video too fast, and well, it tripped me up, and it cost me a pretty penny. So I'll show you that, and then I will show you the builds and the speed tune at the end. So here we are on Iron Gaming's website here. He's got an Iron Twins calculator. The nice thing is you can log in just using, say, your Google account, or you can create your own account. But so what we have here is the speeds here. My Helicath is 257, of course 215 for Painkeeper, 182, 160, and then 180 for Armiger. So Armiger, or whoever your DPS is going to be, has to be 179 to 181. If I go to 178 and scroll down, it's failing here. If I go up to 182, apparently it's still in sync, but not willing to risk anyway. Mine is 180, and then I don't know how much play there is in these speeds, so just try and hit these speeds. You can play around with the calculator if you want. Now, what caused the run to fail? Well, initially, this middle speed Painkeeper was not booked. So, okay, she's fully booked, and as you can see, unkillable. So you're just looking at all these blacks at the bottom saying you're unkillable. 30 turns out we're still unkillable. I didn't book her, so she's on a 5-turn cooldown. As you can see, not sure what is that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Turn 13, we are not unkillable, and that's where it was failing. Now, if the slowest Painkeeper, theoretically, you can see here that we still are unkillable throughout. So you definitely want to make sure that you have the A2 and A3 booked on at least the 2 fastest Painkeepers, and of course you have to have the A3 booked out on the slowest Painkeeper. Doesn't hurt, so I would recommend go ahead, book out the A2, but it depends on your situation and how many books you have. So there is a little bit of leeway there. But you can go with this calculator, you can play with the speeds. 256 still works on Helicath. I don't think, yeah, 255 obviously right there does not work. I went up to as high as 270. It's still in sync, so 256 minimum. I went with 257 to have a little comfortability there. Depends on, you got lower steel, and or you can sit there and choose speed sets, perception, or whatever. And then just, you know, typical setup, you're going to skip the A3 on the 2 slower Painkeepers for 1 turn, and then use theirs on the 2nd turn, whereas the fastest one will start right away. There you go. That's the setup. You can play around with the speeds if you want. It's kind of cool doing that. And as you can see, it did show that with that being on a 5-turn cooldown, that was my problem, and it would run out of sync. So let's move over to the builds. Alright, so the builds here for Helicath have not changed. Crit damage set, and then just offset pieces there, with almost 40k HP. Not much attack, he's defense based, so I went as high as defense as I could. Reasonably there, 257 speed. Of course, you want 100% crit rate. You'd like some crit damage in there. He doesn't need resistance or accuracy, because I'm not worried about his skills landing, which is mainly the weaken here. The other nice thing though is he does ignore shield and block damage buffs, but he's fully booked on his A1. Doesn't need to be. Attacks all enemy, places a shield buff on allies for 2 turns, and the shield is proportional to his defense. We all know about this. This is fully booked. Not sure if it needs to be or not, but if you don't have it fully booked, double check it in the calculator. You got to have, though, his A3 block damage fully booked. That's what it's based on. I do have a blessing for him, but I ran all 4 affinities without the blessing to kind of get an idea of how long it would take without the blessing, and then I'm going to go with brimstone to get smite because that works very well uh, on the Iron Twins. It does come in handy, and I do use them a little bit. And Hydra, I also run them in Doom Tower where uh, brimstone is not as handy, but he's mainly there for his block damage and his shield, so he's not really a DPSer. But his masteries, just simple, down to War Master here, back when I had him for Clan Boss. Again, Clan Boss here, so he wouldn't get targeted, so I haven't changed his masteries at all. But that is Helicath. Okay, Painkeeper, she's fully ascended, 6-star 60. I managed to throw her in a toxic set. And of course here, all I want is speed. Hey, if you get some crit rate and some little extra damage, fine. Not going to make probably a huge difference on run. Even the toxic set won't. But, you know, hey, if you can save off 20 or 30 seconds, more power to you. So she's fully booked on her A1 and her A2 and her A3. Of course, she was built for my budget unkillable clan boss a long time ago. Hence the masteries there. Now notice I didn't take counterattack masteries there because we don't want her doing her A1 any more than normal. So don't do anything that will increase the turn meter. I think this will be fine because you're not going to actually kill the boss till the end, so it won't matter. So you won't get an increase in speed there, but these are the masteries I chose for. You don't need masteries at all, really. But you definitely don't want counterattack because you don't want her using that A1, which is a turn meter boost. That's why the run failed with the second slowest Painkeeper not being fully booked. This being on 5 turn means she's taking an extra turn on her A1, and she's filling the turn meter by 10%, falls out of sync, as you see in the calculator at turn 13. And if you paid attention in the video, somewhere around the 50-60% mark of the Iron Twins wipes out a couple of our Painkeepers, and then the run fails shortly thereafter. So that's Painkeeper number 1. Painkeeper 2 is at level 50. Does not need to be. None of these need to be level 50. They don't even need to be level 40. It's really, can you get the speeds? Can you get the speeds and do use the books? So she's also in toxic set. And you can see here, 182. No crit rate or crit damage. So I just slapped some gear on her and got her to that speed. Again, though, in toxic set, fully booked A1, fully booked A2 now. If you saw previously when I showed you the builds, this was not fully booked. That's why it failed. And then, of course, fully booked A3, no masteries. So that is Painkeeper number 2. Painkeeper number 3, again in toxic set. 160 speed, of course, no crit rate, no crit damage, no other real big, I mean, those are pitiful because we're going block damage. But partially booked A1. I mean, I could do it, but she's not really going to do that much damage. You saw her stats. Went ahead, fully booked her A2 when I did the second fastest or second slowest Painkeepers A2 as well, just to be on the safe side. Once you're at my point in the game, you're almost never using rare books, so I have so many it's not a big deal. But definitely would not hurt to book out the A2 on the slowest one as well, and her A3. And that's where I screwed up in his video. I did not catch, and he said it though, that he had all the A2s and A3s booked out on all the Painkeepers. So there was my mistake. And then the masteries, of course, no masteries for her. She's not much of a damage dealer, so I don't think that it's worth running masteries and or throwing any more books than you have to into the Painkeepers. or any special gear. You're just trying to get to the speeds. So lastly here we have Armiger. The build didn't change there, but his total stats, 3,600, so that's about as high as defense I can go without start stripping some of my better champs. 180 speed. You want to be between 179 and 182. I recommend being at least one speed slower than the middle Painkeeper. But you want 100% crit rate, as much crit damage, and of course defense as you can. For this Armiger, we don't care about turn meters, so you don't need any accuracy, anything like that. You don't really care about the HP or whatever. You're just trying to get 100% crit rate, the exact speed you need, and then as much crit damage and defense, because he's defensive based, to give you the damage. He is fully booked. You know, you just get a bunch of copies of him and do that. Of course, you don't have to, but you really like this one fully booked because damage is based on defense and enemy max HP. It's on a 2-turn cooldown. The Painkeepers are almost, with their cooldown resets, are gonna almost the entire fight have him doing this A2 instead of the A1, and that's what's going to help speed it up. Now, Armiger and Helicath are both Spirit Affinity, so against magic, the runs are going to be slower. Most of the runs are, for me, are around 4 minutes. I do have a clanmate who's run the same setup as well. Doesn't quite have the stats on his Armiger that I have, and his runs have been running around 7 minutes. So, you know, if you make Armiger hit, then you can get faster runs there. And then for Armiger, just kind of like a standard clan boss build or damage build there with War Master. And then he was built quite a while ago for a tiny amount of accuracy. But I haven't really used him in quite a long time. Now, could you substitute Cold Heart in here? Yes. She'd be neutral affinity, but hers is on a 4-turn cooldown. So I don't know that she'd be going pretty much full cycle, but I might test it just to see if it's quicker or not. And then Septimus could be another good one. Royal Guard maybe, but obviously Geo is going to be the best for the fastest one. I don't value Iron Twins. I think just the resources are too doggone high. So I can do all 4 affinities, and I did so for this video. But at the end of the day, I do my Hydra, and I'll run it on Void because you're getting almost twice as much rewards as you are the others. Otherwise, not really worth the resources. Definitely not worth wasting the gems on. And I might do another video as to why when you start looking into the soul stones and all that. But so those are the 5 champs. There are the builds. If you look earlier in the video, you can see the skill setups. Nothing changed there. There was no problem with those. It does not matter how much damage that you put on here. You could put him in a reflex, but with a reflex set or a relentless set, that to me is kind of pointless because he's going to be going most of the time on the A2 anyway, thanks to the Painkeepers. But like I said, if you're using Septimus or a Cold Heart or someone like that, then maybe a reflex or a relentless set would be helpful in speeding it up somewhat. But I don't see any point there. And of course, you got to be careful with anything that might cause turn meters, such as the Painkeepers that got turn meter on their A1, and or masteries that might throw that off as well. So, but there you go. It can do all 4 affinities, no problem. Proof's in the pudding. Those are the builds. Have a good day.